We're back, we're naked, and we're ready to party.
You're not really naked, are you?
Not physically, but here on the Naked Party Time podcast, we get real and raw about life, leadership, and love. So what do you say? Are you ready to get naked?
Let's do it.
We've made more than our fair share of mistakes in marriage, but today, in episode 63, we're talking about the 5 best marriage decisions we've ever made, and I'm hoping we can come up with 5. Welcome back, or welcome for the very first time to the Naked Party Time podcast, where we get real and raw about life, leadership, and love. If you're joining us on YouTube, hello to you guys there. We'll explain our surroundings here in a moment. A little bit different scenario here. My name is Sabrina.Maness, and I am your host, and today's episode is wrapped in red and covered in hearts because it's Valentine's week and love is in the air.
Wow.
And speaking of love, I'm joined, as always, by my wife, my co-host, my heartbreak in my heartbreak. I just ruined it. My heartbeat in every love song. The chocolate to my strawberries.
Ooh.
The rose in my garden. The cupid to my arrow. The one who still makes my heart leap. My wife, my best friend, and my queen, Sabrina. Happy Valentine's.
Wow.
How you doing, Sabrina?
That was very, very impressive. Good job.
You want to know something funny?
What?
I asked ChatGPT to write that introduction.
Well, they did a great job.
Which, if you know anything about Sabrina and I, you know we actually don't talk that way about each other.
No.
I would not call us the romantic types.
No.
I mean, we love each other, but we're not romantics.
What does that even mean?
Sappy, lovey-dovey. That's not us.
No.
Just a fun way to start the podcast.
I liked it.
Yeah. I have a bunch more lined up from chat to help out. So
Oh, good.
I ran out of ideas. I got some good ones now.
Oh, good.
I gave it like a sample of what I had done before.
Mm-hmm.
I said, write some podcast introductions based on this voice, this style. Boom. Got like 20 new ones.
I can't wait to hear them.
And I asked for a Valentine's one, and they did that.
That was good.
There you go. So it is Valentine's week, which for us is not really a big deal either.
Mm-hmm.
We've never made a big deal out of Valentine's. We actually don't usually get each other anything.
No.
What's our card tradition for Valentine's?
We usually go to the store, pick one out, and then read them right there in the store.
Yep. Don't have to spend any money. That's how romantic we are.
And usually we can be caught dying laughing
Yep.
in the card aisle.
Yep.
There are some good cards out there. But man,
There are.
$5 for a card.
I know.
I'd rather you buy me Starbucks and
Exactly.
give me a card.
We'll go out to eat or something, go to the card aisle at Target, find a good card, swap them, call it good.
Yeah, we don't have to spend any money.
Yep. There you go. We do have one big announcement to make.
We do?
Yeah. Announcement about our family that we've been holding on to.
Oh, we do.
Since December.
Since my birthday.
You want to share the news? Sabrina, you are not pregnant.
But Michaela is.
But our daughter, Michaela, is pregnant.
Yes.
3rd grandbaby on the way.
In less than 2 years.
August 15th, she's due.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband, Sam, is currently deployed to the Middle East. And so, big prayer. If you're out there and you want to lift us up in prayer, lift up Michaela and Sam. We're praying that he's able to come home for the birth.
Yes.
He's not scheduled to be home till later this year. So, we're hoping he's able to come home.
Yes, we hope he can get on a flight sooner than his calendar says for his deployment, so he can be here for the birth.
Yep.
But me and Mariah are going to try to be there for the birth, so whether Sam makes it or not, hopefully somebody will be with Michaela.
Yep. But we're excited. When Michaela was here visiting in December, we actually got to go with her to a ultrasound.
Mm-hmm.
And got an early ultrasound view of the baby, heard the heartbeat.
Mm-hmm. It was awesome. The baby was only 6 weeks old,
6
too.
weeks old. It was
and then
incredible.
Michaela just had her 12-week appointment, and she sent us a video of the ultrasound, and the baby was waving. It was so cute. I've watched it a couple of times.
Yep.
She's not finding out the gender because if Sam can make it back for the delivery, they wanted to have something together because he'll be gone the whole pregnancy. So it is kind of hard with the pronouns when you talk about the baby, because I don't necessarily want to call the baby it.
Yeah.
We did name the baby Blueberry.
Because their last name's Berry.
Yes.
And it was the size of a blueberry at one point, and so that kind of stuck.
Yeah, so it is nice having a quote-unquote name. So baby Blueberry is the size of a plum last week. So it's growing, and it's so cute to see it, and it was fun.
Yeah. So we may have a few listeners, few new viewers to our podcast since I mentioned it on Sunday. We're recording this on a Thursday. It'll release on a Tuesday. So in between now and then Sunday, obviously, and I'm mentioning our podcast in my message on Sunday.
Oh, you are?
And so we might have a few people that learn of the podcast. We chose a podcast name that makes it really difficult to just mention it in public.
Or Google search it.
Without some explanation. And so, but it fit perfectly in my message. We were talking about the oneness that we want to cultivate in marriage. And part of that oneness is relational intimacy, which is really what our podcast is all about. Being real and raw about life, leadership, and love. And so since we might have some new people, I want to take a moment right here and challenge everyone who is listening to subscribe to the podcast. That way you will never miss a conversation. We try and release one new episode every month. If you're on Apple or Spotify, please take a moment to rate it and review it. It really helps spread the word. If something from today's episode stands out to you, share it with a friend. Tag us on social media. You can find us on Instagram and Facebook. Just search our names. You can typically find us on there. If you are joining on YouTube, again, we will get to our surroundings here in a moment. Don't forget to like the video, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment below, and turn on the notifications by clicking the bell so that you're the first to know of new content. And if you're not on YouTube, why not?
You might want to go to YouTube to watch this episode because it is quite interesting. I
do love engaging on podcasts on YouTube, and we're here every time on video. So thank you for tuning in on there. With that said, why don't we go ahead and start diving into the 5 best decisions we've ever made in our marriage right now. We are currently in an A-frame screened-in cabin camping on a Thursday night, which is why we're filming here, and you see this weird metal frame behind us. So we are at Lake Houston Wilderness Park, camping in an A-frame cabin, and needed to get this podcast recorded. We do have some neighbors in an A-frame not too far from us. They probably think we are incredibly weird right now.
Yeah, they're probably like, what is going on?
We have a light on, a podcast light in here, and
it's
we're talking
bright.
Loud, and they're like, who are these weirdos?
Or maybe they will think we're famous.
Oh, yeah.
And they'll want our autograph.
Yeah, famous YouTubers over there. Oh, I wonder if they're camping YouTubers. So we have not compared our lists.
No.
So I'm really curious how this is going to turn out. And trust me, as I said, we have made our share of bad decisions as well.
Oh, yeah.
Our share of mistakes. And in next month's episode, surprise to you, we're going to walk through those as well.
Oh, goody.
The worst decisions we've ever made in our marriage.
Oh, man.
And I hope one of yours is not marrying you.
No, I wouldn't say that.
So the last time I asked Sabrina to do something for the podcast,
oh my gosh,
like we're doing today, it started a fight in our relationship. I went back and found what episode it was.
Oh, good.
This might be a bad decision to replay this. It was episode 46 called Wishing Upon a Star. And I wanted to do a podcast at the start of 2023 about 5 things we're praying for 2023. And so I came to you and I just asked you, hey, I want to do a podcast on like 5 things we're praying for in 2023. So could you think of a couple things that you're praying for 2023? And you didn't say yes or no. You said your immediate response was, I don't think like you. And I said, okay, I'm not asking you to think like me. I'm just asking, what are a couple of things combined together? We would come up with 5. I've got a few in my mind already. I don't think like you. I said, babe, I'm not asking you to think like me. I just want you, I said, you're not praying for anything. I said, you pray for like an hour every day. What are you praying for? And you said nothing.
Why are we bringing this up 2 years later? Let it go.
This time, I'm saying all that to say this time I learned.
Because you had PTSD.
Yeah, this time I learned. We were sitting last week, I think, and I said, hey, I've got an idea for the podcast. And I said, now hear me out. I'm not asking you to think like me, but I have an idea. The 5 best decisions we've made in our marriage. I was like, you got some time? Just think of 5 things we've done that you would say, man, we did that right. So you have 5, right?
I do.
Is number 1 saying yes to me?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, that's my number 1. Okay. I'm going to have you start. If I actually have the same one, we get a point.
Okay.
If we have at least 3 the same, that's a majority. 3 out of 5 would be more than 2. Mm-hmm. We win the game.
And what's the price?
Starbucks.
Ooh, okay. I'll take that.
Okay. Do you have yours in any particular order?
No, I do not.
I don't either. I just wrote down
just
5.
How they came to me.
Yeah. First one.
Weekly date nights.
Boom. I have that one too. Done.
Are we expanding on it or what?
Yeah, I'm just kidding. So I don't know when we started this. It wasn't.
I feel like it was early on in our having kids.
I agree. I think before we had kids, we would go out to eat. We didn't really call it dating. We weren't necessarily intentional.
We're not intentional about anything before we had kids.
I agree.
It was like having kids, and I think part of it is people say some things to you when you're pregnant and about to have kids that are not always helpful or wise. And so some of it, we wanted to butt against it and be like, nope, we're not going to be like that. Or nope. So I think it drove us to talk about intentionality.
Yeah.
Like, I remember especially with Jonah, with your first, everybody's like, oh, it'll change your life and you can't do this and you can't do that. And we're like, wait a minute.
Yeah. We want to still have a life.
Yeah. And so I think that motivated us to talk about what are we going to not let our kids stop us from, and what is this going to look like?
Yep.
So I feel like sometime in having Jonah, it was a priority.
Yeah. And when the kids were little and we weren't making a whole lot of money, we did a lot of home dates.
Right.
So we would put the kids to bed, sometimes early. Mm-hmm. When they were really little, they didn't know what time it was.
Right. So they could go to bed at 6:30.
Yeah, we just say, hey, it's bedtime. And they're like, oh, okay. And we would tell them, hey, we're going to have a date night. Mommy and Daddy are going to be together. We need you to stay in your room. And they were little. They would obviously come out sometimes. But we would make dinner. We would feed them earlier. We would have dinner together later.
Yeah.
Watch a movie, watch a TV show or something. But
we did have good free teenage babysitters when we were youth pastors in Gillette for a while, which that was a huge blessing.
Yep. Once our kids got older and we actually got to a point where we had a bedroom where we had a TV in it, or even a bedroom that was big enough to put a couch in, which was a huge blessing. But we would actually shut the door and lock it. Mm-hmm. And we would tell the kids when they were older, this is like we're at the movies. Like, you would not walk in and interrupt our date if we were at the movie theater.
You got to be bleeding
that's what we said.
Or throwing up to come knock on the door.
And again, they would still sometimes knock on the door and ask where something was for cooking in the kitchen or whatever. But for as long as I can remember in our marriage since we had kids, setting aside a weekly date night where we intentionally were spending time together, whether it was at home or out. Mm-hmm. And we don't spend a lot of money on dates. Mm-mm. We actually, there might be something else that comes up a little bit we spend more money on. I think we'll be on both of ours too. But the weekly date night was a big, big deal. We do a lot of free date nights. Mm-hmm. Like was it last week? We drove up into Houston just to go look at, like, just for fun.
Oh, yeah.
Go look at giant houses. And we went to a new park that we'd never been to.
Ended up at the zoo.
Which wasn't necessarily free, but we bought an annual pass back in
September.
September for Dakota's birthday, but we've taken Dakota and Baker, and ended up there at the park at Herman Park there in downtown Houston, and the zoo is right there, and we were like, oh, let's just walk through the zoo. So we have a pass. We went right into the zoo, walked the entire zoo, walked Herman Park. It was a gorgeous day.
Oh, we went through the Japanese gardens.
Japanese.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the flower. Yeah, Japanese
the
gardens.
Friendship Garden.
Botanical gardens.
Yeah.
Which was gorgeous. It was a blast.
Did we spend any money?
We got Starbucks.
No.
That's always been.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
I guess gas, but.
Yeah. So it does not take a lot of money to intentionally invest in your marriage.
Mm-hmm.
You two together, alone, without kids. Okay. 1 point.
Am I just always going to share mine first? Okay.
Anything else to add on that one?
No, I think that was all good.
And I think that actually is one of the easiest things you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Is set aside, and ours is Thursday night. So we're on date night right now, and sometimes we'll record a podcast on date night.
Yeah.
Which we enjoy doing, so it's not a big deal. But we're up here all night long. We're staying the night. We're gonna relax in the morning. Check out here at the campground. It's not till noon. So, yeah, this has already been a great date night. Mm-hmm. We hung out by the campfire tonight. It's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so for number 2, I have overnight trips / vacations without kids.
Ding, 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 ding.
Another point.
Another point. That's one too. Now, this one we started later with as far as being, having goals around this.
Yes, but
we've always got away since we've had kids.
Yes.
So I'll right now, we try to get away at least overnight, 1 night per quarter, and 1 extended time each year, like at least a weekend. Sometimes it's up to a week.
We've lived with that rhythm for many years now. And
so, again, this one does cost money, but we plan for it in our budget. We have a budget to do this, and we try to get away overnight, or we would try to farm out our kids to other people's place for a night, whether it's friends or somebody to, like, each one of them going to somewhere different, or all of them going one place. And then we stay home at night by ourselves. But 1 overnight together every quarter, and then 1 weekend or even up to a week or longer every single year. And we've been doing that for years without kids.
Yes. Which is the key.
That's the key. Mm-hmm. And we've done cruises together. We went to Israel together. We have gone a lot of places.
Yeah, we actually have been very blessed to travel a lot. And part of it has been ministry related trips that we've got to go on without children. And some of it has been a job I once had. I earned trips that we got to go on.
Yep.
So some have been provided for us financially.
Yep. We did a missions trip. We went on to Brazil that time.
Yes, that was amazing. Yeah. So we've done all sorts of things, but we have had to be strategic, and we've had to sacrifice in other ways because it is a priority.
It's a priority for us.
And it doesn't have to be a priority for everybody, but I would highly recommend it is, because when your kids do leave the nest someday, you still want to have this relationship, and you have to put forth the effort with kids in the house. Yep.
In fact, I'm saying this on Sunday, one of the best things for couples that have kids, not all marriages have kids.
Right.
Sometimes due to infertility, or they've lost children, which, again, if you're listening and you're somebody who struggled with infertility, or you've lost a child and you desire to have children and you don't, we are with you and for you and love you and pray for you. For the married couples who don't desire children right now, maybe don't desire them ever, same for you. You are as valuable in the kingdom of God and the church without kids as people are who have kids.
Yes.
I'm saying that on Sunday too. But I'm also saying to the marriages who do have children, one of the best things you can do for your children is to show them that this relationship between mom and dad is the priority.
Yeah.
You are not the priority. We are.
Mm-hmm.
Does not mean we neglect our kids. We provide for them. You care for them. You obviously invest in them as much as you can. But the very first priority is this one, husband and wife. And there's a study out there. Since 1990, the divorce rate of empty nesters has tripled.
Whoa.
Since 1990.
Wow.
And researchers are finding that in a lot of ways, due to the increase of activity that kids are in, even though it's with great intent and with the right heart, parents have invested so much of their time in their children that they've left little to no time for each other. And then when the kids leave, the foundation for their home was their kids and not their marriage. And so this is a huge piece of overcoming that. It's still going to be hard. I mean, kids tug at your time and they tug at your heart in the greatest of ways.
Yeah.
And so you have to choose to invest in one another with those date nights. And then for us, getting away overnight, at least one night every quarter. And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. This A-frame camping thing we're in costs $35 a night. If we go tent camping, it costs $35 a night. Or you can get, if you go just dry camping somewhere, it's free. So there are affordable ways, and we are not like outdoorsy. No. We're outsidey people. We like being outside. We don't like being outdoors.
No.
And so having this A-frame with electricity, I brought my coffee maker. We were watching TV earlier on an iPad. It's not like we're roughing it here. I got a fan to sleep on. We have air mattresses.
We do have our trusty pee bucket
over here. I got a pee bucket.
Here.
If you're on YouTube, you can see our pee bucket, so we don't have to walk to the bathroom at night. Hey, we're real and raw.
That's right.
But having these overnight trips is a key component. It's one of the best decisions we've ever made for our marriage. We love it. We plan it. We look forward to it.
Yeah, it keeps us connected.
Yep. All right. What's the next one?
Number 3, filling each other's love buckets.
We got 3. We win the game. You just won Starbucks. Filling each other's love buckets. Explain that one, Sabrina.
So probably most people have heard of Gary Chapman's book, The 5 Love Languages. So words of affirmation, acts of service, gifts, physical touch, and what am I missing?
I don't know.
What's the 5th one?
Words of service, words of affirmation, gifts.
I said that one.
Service, you said that one. Physical touch, said that one. And
you're probably
quality time.
Quality time. So we all need all of those shown to us, and we show those to other people, but there's usually one that we need more than any other. So mine is acts of service, is how I feel loved. Jeff's is words of affirmation, is how he feels loved. And we, again, I don't remember the time frame, but early on in our marriage, read the book, figured it out, and then have done a fairly decent job. I feel like we get better and better of filling each other's love buckets.
When we were first married, though,
no,
we did not do this.
No, and there was a lot of fighting,
a lot of conflict.
Yeah,
because I think we were both trying to express love in ways that we received it, or that we thought the other would want it.
Right. We were guessing at it and not really doing it. But once we started actually intentionally filling each other's love buckets without having to be told, then now it's just like old hat to us, and we just do it without even thinking. So, and I think that's part of the reason why like a holiday like Valentine's Day is not that important to us, because I feel loved as special as a holiday all year long, where that one holiday comes around, I don't have to wait to be loved on that holiday because I'm loved so well throughout the year.
Man, can you say that again? And you do same thing. Like, you are very, very intentional. Right now you're doing things for Valentine's Day, actually.
Yeah.
Every day you're leaving a sticky note. You're not doing it just for me. You're doing it for Mariah and Caleb and Dakota and Jada and
just the
people that you're in life with every day in their homes, because you're watching Dakota.
Yeah.
But you're writing on a sticky note just a encouraging word, something positive about the person. For me, you're putting them on the mirror. The first day I saw it, I thought, oh man, she's doing this just for me because it's my love language. And then I found out you're doing it for everybody.
And majority of our family, immediate, our kids, I don't know about, I need to find out what Caleb's is, but like I know Mariah and Jada and yours is all words of affirmation. And we don't, Dakota's.
Jada's quality time, isn't it?
Well, words of affirmation is up there, quality time. And I need to find out what Caleb's is, but for the 14 days of February, I've done this for many, many years. Left a little love note on the kids' doors or whatever. Just something special. Because Valentine's is more than just, I want it, yes, it can be fun, and I always buy the kids a box of chocolates. Like, I try to make it a little fun, but I want them to feel loved all year.
Yeah.
And we do a good job at that now.
Yeah. When we first, like even when we were dating and then when we were first married. So this is where the love languages, you have one that you most receive love, but then we all have one that we most give love in a certain way. And it's not always the same.
Right.
Your actual natural way to give love is gifts.
Mm-hmm.
So I picked up on that. Oh, she wants to give gifts. I thought, oh, she's going to receive love by getting gifts. I tried buying you everything.
When we were dating.
Yeah, when we were dating. And then I think even after we were married, I'm like, this is not working. I would be super thoughtful, and you would mention something you wanted and I'd get it. And you're like, huh. It didn't even move the needle.
Yeah. I feel like the older I get now, like acts of service will always be number one, but I think I am liking gifts more, but I like the thought behind it, because I like being known. I like to know that you thought about what to get me, because that makes me feel loved and wanted. Some of
those old gifts I got you would have been.
I know, because I do show love through gifts, handmade gifts. Like if you're somebody I give a gift to, I think about it all year up to your birthday. Like, I spend a lot of time thinking and processing what I want to get somebody, because I want them to feel loved and wanted, because that's what I also desire. But it is very helpful to know, and there is a book so you can know your kids.
Yep.
So we try to learn our kids. They have to be, I think 5 is like the earliest you can kind of figure it out. But that was also very helpful. So because we knew ours, we learned our kids and tried to make sure that we did a good job with that too.
And the love language thing is, you don't have to be married to actually love someone in the way they're going to best receive it.
I like to know
so
people's love languages, because I want to make sure I'm loving you the way you need loved.
Yep.
That's very important to me.
And we call it our love bucket. So we want to fill their love bucket.
Yeah.
Like, I want Sabrina's love bucket to be full, and vice versa for me. And again, when we first got married, I don't know when we started doing this, it was probably after kids too, but like, I remember when you were pregnant with Jonah and vomiting, like she had not morning sickness, all 24/7 sickness. And up until that point in our marriage, you handled all the cooking and cleaning. Like, you cleaned the kitchen, did the dishes. I don't know why I didn't help, because that's something I do almost every single meal every day now, is clean the kitchen for you.
You were not very helpful when we were first married.
And I remember this was a gift. It was your birthday or Mother's Day or something.
You did my birthday and Christmas. Okay. Were these two gifts.
Because because I knew I was going to have to be doing the
Dishes.
cleaning of the kitchen,
Mm-hmm.
doing the dishes, and being in the kitchen more for your birthday and for Christmas. I bought you a dishwasher.
Yeah, because we didn't have one.
And a TV for the kitchen.
You bought a portable dishwasher and a TV, and I was not impressed.
And I'm like, why isn't she not impressed? This is a great gift. It's going to be so much easier for you.
For
really,
you
for me.
To do the dishes because I'm vomiting my guts up.
And then I don't remember when I started doing the laundry at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know if
with the laundry, at some point you asked me, what is the chore I hate the most?
And I don't remember why I was challenged by it. I don't remember what triggered me to ask that question,
and it was laundry.
Yeah, I said, what's the thing you hate doing the most that I could do? Maybe we read love languages. I mean, I wasn't even a reader back then. That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't know. But I haven't probably done laundry in 20 years.
We might have went to a pastors and wives conference or something. I don't know.
Oh, we did go to many pastors and wives, so maybe that was a challenge.
Somewhere along the way, we were challenged. And then even for you, you really struggled to become consistent at speaking words of encouragement. And intentional and strategic.
Yeah.
In speaking words of encouragement to me.
I had to force myself to learn how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Now
it's
I just think, how can I encourage somebody? But it has taken many, many years for it to become very natural. And I mean, it's pretty rare if I do not text you Sunday after a message.
Yeah. Sometimes when I'm off the platform, I have a text message.
Yes.
And it's not just good job. It's very specific.
I try to pick something that was because I do want you to know because I do think every message is good, but I don't want that to get old. So I do try to be very specific.
Yep. One thing that I don't travel as much for work that I used to. I mean, I used to travel because we were in a denomination, so there was meetings across the country I would go to, or if I went and spoke somewhere. I don't do that as much anymore, but whenever I would travel by myself, one of the things that you started doing that literally was the better than anything you could have done. I'd pack my suitcase the night before or whatever. I think probably when I was asleep, you would write little notes on paper and then put it into the pockets of my pants or shorts that I was going to have on the trip. And then I would put my pants on, reach into my pocket, and there's paper in there, and it'd be just some encouraging, sexy maybe comment that you would write. And I started to look forward to those trips because that would be in my pockets.
Yeah.
And then there's a couple times I would go on a trip and you didn't do it, and I would be like, oh man.
I always wanted to surprise you, and there was sometimes I couldn't get to it in time, but
so weekly date night, overnight trips, fill in each other's love buckets, the love languages. 3 for 3. What's your next one?
Using a budget and planning our money.
Wow, that's not on mine.
Really?
No.
I thought for sure that'd be on yours.
No, I didn't even think about that. That's a good one. That is we didn't always live on a budget.
No.
And my goodness, did we have, man, we've made every financial mistake you can imagine.
Oh, yeah. We don't even want to get started with that.
Yeah. I mean, we were up to our eyeballs in debt more than once, got out of debt, went back in debt.
Oh, I hid some debt from you.
Yeah, we talked about that before. that might go on our worst decisions we've ever made podcast. But yeah, being challenged by Joe, it was really Joe Sangle that got us on a budget. Being challenged by Joe Sangle to get on a budget, live within our means, live debt-free lives, save for the future, have emergencies, plan for retirement, all those things. By far, I can't live. I didn't think about that one.
I know.
I love doing the budget.
You do it every Friday.
Week. Every Friday I sit down and I love looking at all the numbers. I love planning that stuff.
We couldn't have made all the memories we've made
Yeah.
in the last 27 years, even though we haven't always lived on a budget or even stuck to our budget that we have. But we've been married 27 years. In the last 27 years, we couldn't have done even half
Yeah.
of what we've done if it wasn't for living on a budget, saying no,
Yeah.
sacrificing. And I mean, for us, making memories with our children has always been a top priority
And for us.
over buying stuff. And
That's a good one.
we had to live a certain way to do that.
Yeah. I like that one. That's awesome. Even like we're getting ready to take Jada on a graduation trip.
Mm-hmm.
And we did that for every one of our kids. When they graduated high school, we wanted to go on a trip with just them, and they can bring a friend. And we have been saving to do this since Jada, what did we figure out? 6 years old?
7 years old.
She's 18. We literally sat down when she was 7 and started figuring out, okay, to do this for every one of our kids, we want to do this much money for their trip when they graduate. How much do we have to save every paycheck so that we have that much money for every single kid at that time, including Jada when she's graduates high school. And we are taking her on a cruise with her friend Marlo, and we're making the final payment on that coming up. I mean, we're paying the cruise company the money that we owe. We've been saving since she was 7. We couldn't have done it without a budget.
Right.
Even stuff like this, we plan to do things like this, overnight trips, those quarterly trips, overnights. That's a really good one.
I am shocked that that's not on your list.
I mean, we lived for years with zero savings, zero.
Well, we got married in 97, and we first heard Joe in 2009.
And it was whenever that Suburban broke down.
2011.
2011 is when I had what Joe calls my I have had enough moment. I said our engine blew or whatever it was, transmission went out on our Suburban on a trip in the middle of Kansas.
We were driving Oklahoma
we literally
from Wyoming.
We rode in the Suburban while the tow truck pulled us.
It was pulling us backwards.
Illegal,
but there was too many of us.
Core memory now for our children.
Yes.
We talk about that a lot. We have pictures of it. But I told you when we got back, I said, we are never doing this again because we didn't have any money to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
We had to put it on a credit card. I said, we're never doing this again.
It took us from 97 to 2011 to get there. And man, 100% if we could go back and start in 97.
Oh man.
We would be in such a better financial place.
I'm behind and everybody feels like they're behind in saving for retirement. Like we are way behind because we didn't do anything.
Right. We didn't know. We
didn't save
money.
We
weren't wise.
No.
We
ran
were
up credit cards.
Stupid and
we've made every financial mistake in the book.
But even with those financial mistakes, we have made the sacrifices to make what was priority for us priority.
Yeah.
And our kids have watched us sacrifice. We're seeing them now live on a budget and sacrifice, and
some
of them, not all of them, but some of them.
They're trying.
We're trying to help them be wiser, younger than we were, so they can be ahead of where we are.
That's good. That's a really good one. All
so
right.
what?
Well, let's
okay.
do. So you have one more. So I have 2 more now.
Okay. So I don't know if you'll have this one either, but so working on our own individual relationships with Jesus, getting the counseling help we needed individually.
That's my number one was personal relationship with Jesus, starting every day with Jesus. So yeah, I think developing our own personal relationship with Christ. I mean, if you're putting these in order of priority, that would be number 1.
Right.
But I understand that's not what we were doing. It is by far the best decision we've ever made.
Right. I think sometimes maybe in Big C church, Christ followers, you're under the impression that you have to pray together.
I have
You
this written down.
have to have devotionals together.
Yep.
You have to have this joint relationship, and none of that is bad.
Yeah.
None of it is wrong. But we just haven't lived that
Yep.
way to some degree. Not that we don't ever pray with each other or do a devotional together, but from the beginning, it's just been such individual relationships for us. But I think that has been very important to our marriage, because Jesus is the third person in this relationship. But he asks us to love him more than anybody else. So I have to love him more than Jeff, which means he has to be my number one priority.
Amen.
And I can't look to you to be my savior. And so I feel like that has been a wise decision for us.
Yep. And we don't have these long prayer times together. We never have.
No.
I do try, if you're awake when I leave in the morning, which is I'm not saying as a joke. Like sometimes I'll leave for the office before 7, and you don't have to be up.
Right.
You stay up later than me. I get up at 5 in the morning, so I've been up for 2 hours by the time I leave. But if you're awake, if there's never a day I don't pray with you before I leave if you're awake.
Right.
But
usually I'm not awake.
We try to. Craig Rochelle said this one time, and I'll never forget it. When he's challenging husbands to pray with their wife every day, and he said, "Here's your plan: keep it short, keep it simple. If you miss one day, don't miss 2."
Mm-hmm.
And I have never forgot that. And so, like, I try to pray for you every single day, and then we always say our marriage mission together every single day. And that has been great for us. That we have not needed more than that. We're currently going to a small group together, so we are studying something, but we don't sit down and study it together.
No.
Other than being at the small group, we really have chosen to make our time with Jesus individually a priority, and doing that inner healing work with Jesus of letting him, guided often by a trusted counselor, to those roots in our life, that whether there's a root to a sin struggle that we have, or what fear, anxiety, worry, whatever it is. A lie that we're believing, a stronghold in our life, like that listening prayer, inner healing, has been.
Which that is very individual work in itself.
And we didn't start doing that until 2016.
When I fell apart.
Yep. And as did I.
It was after you. Yeah, because you struggled with me falling apart and knowing what to do with me. And God kind of took you on your own journey.
He gave me a little window
of what I was going through.
What you were going through, and it floored me. It literally, he didn't force me. He brought me to a decision point where I either was going to have to keep living in this state of panic or deal with what he wanted me to deal with.
Yeah.
And you have been challenging me for months to do listening prayer with a trusted counselor. And I was just, I don't need it. I'm good.
And you were very frustrated with me in 2016.
And then it was literally at a pastor's conference. I thought I was going to die. I was with my best friend Todd, and I didn't know if I needed to ask him to take me to an emergency room. And I came home and I said, I'm ready. And for you and for me, that decision to do that, okay, Jesus, where do you want to take me here? What are you wanting to deal with? And allowing him to deal with those generational sins that we have. Everybody has. Everybody has them. That's by far the best thing we've done.
Mm-hmm.
And I have loved seeing you. I mean, reading your Bible consistently is a fairly new thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
You loved Jesus, and you would regularly have time with him, but not like you are now.
Yeah. I know the day, October 9th, 2017. I have read my Bible every single day since then.
And that's amazing. And I don't remember the last day that I've not sat down and had time with Jesus in the morning. I don't, and for a long time, even as a pastor, I was not that consistent. It would be 4 times a week, 5 times a week.
Right.
I don't remember the last time I've missed my time with Jesus in the morning. One of my favorite parts about coming camping is the morning time with Jesus, sitting in nature.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, that's by far the best thing we've ever done.
Okay, so we didn't have 2 that were the same. So what are the 2?
No, we didn't only have 1.
Oh, okay, because you had the Jesus one.
Yep.
So only 1.
Yeah.
So we got 4 right. So what's the one we didn't have the same?
You want to guess?
I have no idea. Sex? I don't know.
Yes, you got it. I thought this was making sex a priority.
Okay, I almost wrote down before the budget one. I had thought about the sex intimacy piece of our relationship.
And maybe intimacy is a better word.
It probably is a better
because,
word than the physical act, but we have done a lot of conversations about intimacy, and it is not easy to talk about. It's way easier to get naked with somebody and do the deed than it is to stay clothed and talk about intimacy.
Yes. And
we have had hard conversations around intimacy and what it looks like, and
why is it not working right now?
Yeah, why are we struggling?
What's the barrier?
What's going on? We've had to have open communication to stay united, to stay connected as one, and that is very raw and transparent.
Yes. Yep.
And we don't always want to go there.
Yeah. And one of the reasons why intimacy is maybe a better word, because like sex is like the physical act of intimacy, sex itself is just the fruit, when it's healthy,
of the oneness.
Should be the fruit of the relational intimacy that you're having. Like, sex can help with relational intimacy, but it does not equal intimacy. You can have, that's just a fact. You can have sex with anybody.
Right.
And doesn't make you intimate with one another.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you physically intimate, but it may not have anything to do with true intimacy, which is the Genesis 2:18, which is what our podcast is based off of. This is why I shared the title on Sunday, that Adam and Eve were both naked and felt no shame. And I think it's more than just a physical statement. They were bearing their souls to one another. Nothing hidden. And there's no shame. That is powerful.
Yeah.
It's hard to do. But I do think, the reason I said make sex a priority is because it is often difficult to remain consistent at physical intimacy, but we know the power of it.
Right.
It literally is one of the ways that God keeps the husband and wife connected at the deepest level is through physical intimacy. And so talking openly about it, being intentional with it, at times scheduling it, and which is okay.
Right.
But again, broad strokes, typically the man has a higher sex drive. Not always the case. But I have greatly appreciated, and again, this was not always the case. We struggled with this. Both of us. For various reasons. For some of it because I had sexual sin in my life. But I mean, we were on the struggle bus. So again, I don't know when this flipped for us to be so intentional. I think I do remember. It was when we started being influenced by Dr. Julie Slattery. I don't know what year that would have been, but it really
I also know that you've done a lot of inner healing work,
and that
around
was huge for
this,
you. Yeah.
and I've done a lot of healing work around
We have truth
this.
statements about this.
Oh yeah. To keep our head and heart connected, we do have truth statements. So it would have been, somewhere between 2016 and now that we've been working on this personally, individually, but also talking about it together.
Yep. So
and it's been awkward,
Yeah.
and I haven't wanted to talk about it.
Yep.
And
in fact, in the not so distant future or past, not so distant past, we had a rough season where I finally said, "Babe, we have to talk about this." Do you remember that?
I was trying to avoid it.
I was like, we can't not talk about this.
Yeah, we just ignore it long enough, it goes away, right?
Yeah. So this is not like the struggle's not gone. It's still a struggle at times, but we're intentional with it is the key.
Well, and
we don't ignore it. We don't hide it.
And we talk about it.
Yeah, we talk about it.
Even when it's not a pleasant conversation.
Yep. I had to learn to speak up, not just with what my desires were or in a complaining way, but because I could recognize that there's something below the surface. It's not just the sex.
Yeah.
There's something off somewhere else that we need to talk about. Like, what's going on? Which we weren't always in that place. We've been in seasons before this was a regular conversation of just making the physical piece the only conversation.
Yeah, because it's easier to be physical than it is to talk about it.
Yep. So we had 4 out of 5 the same.
Yeah,
and you were even thinking of that one.
Look at me think like Jeff.
No, man.
I just want to be like Jeff when I grow up.
Whatever. All right. That was good. That was fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
Good job. Next month we are going to talk about some of our mistakes are around these same things. I think we were so bad at some things it led to these decisions.
Yes.
But we'll talk around some of the things that I think there's some other stuff
some
too.
of our poor choices forced us to be intentional about things, which is why we have good things in place now.
Yep. All right.
But isn't that the point of learning from your mistakes?
Exactly. Yeah. You don't
is making progress.
Absolutely. Because practice makes
progress,
not perfection. And we are definitely on all 5 of these things still growing.
Oh yeah, we're
I just said,
not perfect at all.
Not so distant past. Not like last week, but I'm talking about like last year. I think is when was it last year or 2 years ago? I don't remember.
Yeah, it was last May. I remember.
Okay, wow, you know the date.
Because I was trying to avoid you at all costs.
We don't hide anything on here. All right, this has been good. Thanks for doing that. Start thinking about the 5 worst decisions we've ever made. You already know all 5?
No.
Again, if you enjoyed the podcast or if you didn't, comment, like, rate, review, all the things that I mentioned earlier. That would be fantastic. If you have any questions you'd like us to answer, any podcast ideas, that would be great. And again, we'll be back next week. We try to release it on the 2nd Tuesday of each month. Next month, we'll be back with another episode. Why don't we end, as we always do, with our marriage mission? We are united in Christ, unstoppable with Christ, and unbreakable because of Christ. Now it's time for you to go get naked
and party.
We'll see you on the other side. You've been listening to the Naked Party Time podcast. We hope that this has helped you be more real and raw in your life, leadership, or your love. Please like, rate, review, and comment wherever you see the podcast posted. We are so thankful that you are listening.